Hi, I'm Michele Paradise and welcome to the Healing Haven. I'm absolutely delighted to be able to talk to Paul McKenna today. And Paul McKenna is a PhD and one of the world's leading self-help authors and ambassadors of Havening Techniques. Welcome, Paul, and thank you so much for doing this.
Pleasure.
I'm going to just ask you a few questions about, well, the first one is, what has your journey been like with Havening?
Well, it's totally transformed my life. I didn't realise, because they're subconscious or unconscious, often traumatic incidents that have happened to you throughout your life, or challenging times, if you want to put it like that, can be eradicated in as much as we can de-link the thought from the feeling. Mm-hmm. And suddenly something that used to really upset you doesn't anymore. So pretty much every human being in the world has some sort of challenging experiences in the formative years of their life. I certainly have had my fair share. And Havening has really helped me to be more optimistic, positive, healthier, happier, more motivated, confident, all sorts of different things. And how my journey started with Havening was that I read a book about TFT, the tapping therapy, and I became good friends with sadly now late Roger Callahan, and I love TFT. It's really good. But I read a book, and I'd been reading it. I was in New York, and I met Dr. Ronald Ruden, and we're having lunch. And I'd read this book on the plane, and it was about tapping in various parts and the person sitting next to me would say, "Oh, I fancy chocolate, but I shouldn't eat it." And I just read the page on compulsion, so I said, "Why don't you try tapping here and then tapping here and then tapping?" And she went, "It's gone." And there was another nervous person, somebody sitting across from me who looked a bit nervous. I said, "Madam, are you a nervous flyer?" She said, "Yes." I said, "Dr. Paul McKenna." I said, "Let me help you with this. Tap here, tap here." And suddenly she went, "I feel calm." So Ron said, "This sounds really..." This was only in first class. I didn't go back into coach.
Of course.
Not in coach. But then I said to Ron, I read this book on the plane. This is strange. I mean, I've spent years learning behavioural science. I'm a hypnotist, and apparently all you do is go, and you're better, So I'm really annoyed. How could it be this easy? It's brilliant. And he said, "I'm going to investigate it." And I got an email a couple of days later. He said, "I've cured it. Phobia, a urinary frequency, a panic attack disorder, or something. And all of them took something like 20 minutes. He says, "This is just fantastic." So he then set upon a 7-year journey of trying to find out, which parts, when we touch which parts of the skin or the body, and the way we do it, or the visualizations, things like that, the movement of our eyes, either laterally or looking up and up, because there was a number of different therapies in this area of psychosensory therapies, if you like, that we're developing. So 3 years on from that, he said, "I've perfected it. I've got it absolutely in an amazing place." And we undertook a study which was at the time for the military, for people with post-traumatic stress. So it was classified, but it worked extraordinarily well. And we widened the study. We did this with King's College in London to include rape victims, bereavement cases, all sorts of people who'd suffered traumas. And it was amazing. In one session, 70% of the people had what I can only describe as a full 180 in their life, from being in a place where they thought, "I'm utterly depressed, I see no point in anything, I just can't get up, and I can't enjoy my life," to, "Wow, I'm burden free, I feel fantastic, and I see a future." So that's my journey.
Yeah, and it's all about freedom, isn't it? Giving clients freedom.
That's right.
I think you've answered my second question, which is, what I want to say first is thank you for explaining about the difference with TFT and Havening, because I get asked this question a lot. What is the difference?
Oh, there is a difference. They're different mechanisms, but they're part of the same family. I mean, for example, same with EMDR. You see, when you look up and you go from side to side, you're producing alpha. When you do it horizontally like this, then you're producing more delta and theta. And the science actually you should ask Ron about, because he knows it, being a neurobiological scientist. He understands that much better than I do. I'm coming at it much more as a practical behavioural scientist, psychologist. And really, when I sit down and work with somebody, I'm thinking I'm listening to their story, and really there's only one question that's important, which is, what do you want? And they'll say, I'm here, but I want to be here. I want to be rid of this. They'll often tell you what they don't want, but I want to know what it is you want and how I can get you there. And, in 3 easy steps, you could say that some of it involves healing the past and the burdens or blocks that hold you back. It's getting very clear about what it is you want. And a lot of people don't know how to do that, but it's very simple. You go to your values, to what's important, and then designing some sort of direction for your future. Because if you don't have a plan, then, or at least a direction, it's a bit like setting off in a boat without a rudder. You could end up anywhere. So I'm all for the power of now, but I'm also for the power of direction in life, in fact, or purpose. I mean, Viktor Frankl, the brilliant psychiatrist and author who wrote Man's Search for Meaning, said, purpose is the cornerstone of good mental health.
Totally agree. So you sort of answered my next question, but I'll ask it in a different way. Because you're one of the world's leading hypnotists, steeped in NLP. I've used that for years. So how has this changed how you work with your clients? Okay, what I tend to do is incorporate it.
Sometimes, I apply, while I'm doing havening with people, I apply some NLP. Sometimes I'll use hypnosis as well. What I like about havening is, particularly for trauma, when people are in intense states of upset, it can take them very quickly, someone can get calm. The other day I was walking along the street and I saw that there was a lady who'd just been involved in an automobile accident, and the police were there with her, and she'd broken her nose, and she was very disoriented and in pain. And I asked Michele, I said, can I help you? And I touched the side of her arms, and and I asked her to just move her eyes, and then suddenly the pain reduced, and she felt calm. And that's in real time that situation is happening. So on that occasion, I chose to use havening, but I equally could have used hypnosis and NLP. Right. But so what I like to do is to take elements of neurolinguistic programming, particularly some of the language patterns and the anchoring and the things like the way we frame something, we set it up, and I sometimes use some hypnosis because, in a sense, we're all in a deep trance all day long. It's called thinking. So true. Absolutely. And we're only ever one thought away from happiness.
It's one of my favourite expressions.
I know, the late great Sid Banks. Yeah.
Thank you so much for that. And Paul has written far too many books for me to mention. It's true. And do look up his books. He uses havening in many of his books. What I do is I put either a DVD or now like a little credit card in the front which has a PIN number, and you put it into my website, and what happens is it takes you to a page where you can download or stream audio or video in this case, where I'll walk you through the havening techniques. Great. Paul, thank you so much. Real pleasure. Our greatest ambassador for havening. Thank you very much. God bless.